next chapter at today's event, and this chapter is called From Kiev to Tirana, Civil Society Shaping Europe's Future. So we're honing in on that. We've already heard about the importance of the role of civil society and the responsibilities in a space where it feels like it is shrinking. So we're going to focus in on that, and we're going to look at the enlargement side of things, another real achievement from the last 2.5 years. Enlargement, it's not just about treaties, it's not just about negotiations, it's about people, it's about values, it's about civil society, and that is exactly why the EESC launched the Enlargement Candidate Members Initiative, really to give future EU citizens a seat at the table at the right moment to make enlargement a living, a participatory process. Now, our next speaker, from the very beginning, Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama. He's been a very, very strong supporter of the Enlargement Candidate Members Initiative, so a very personal commitment, sent a very powerful signal that civil society has to be at the heart of Europe's enlargement process. So it's a particular honour, really, to welcome him here today to share his vision for Europe's future. Please join me in giving a very, very warm welcome to the Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama. Thank you. I think you've got a little bit more of the floor. The minutes are there, but you've got more minutes than everybody else. So very nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Well, most probably I'll disappoint many because I didn't come here to preach about civil society, but I came here to honor someone that transformed me from a big skeptic guy about social dialogue to a believer in it. And this is why I felt like joining with decidedly mixed feelings that I have even now in this moment at the floor, because I know that this meeting marks also the end of Mr. Oliver Röpke presidency of the European Economic and Social Committee. And I believe that this is first and foremost a moment to celebrate the work of an outstanding leader, but also for sure to reflect on the EECC role under his stewardship as guardian of social dialogue, as a bridge between institutions and citizens, and stern reminder that Europe, its strength lies in people, in participation, in dialogue, not in arguing with your goats alone, as we say in Albania. And dear Oliver, let me praise you because without having had the privilege to meet you, I would be still thinking that social dialogue is a nice discussion about the weather. And your career has been forged in the fires of profound commitment to workers' rights and social justice. And from your early days in the very famous Austrian Trade Union Federation and the Chamber of Labor, to heading the Brussels office of the Austrian Trade Union, you have been on the front line, defending fairness, defending solidarity, defending dignity in the workplace, like a kind of silent European superhero, but with better coffee breaks and fewer cabs. And this dedication of yours has inspired your ECC leadership and etched an indelible mark on the European project. When you assumed the presidency, Europe was navigating what can only be described as a perfect storm. Sometimes, or always, people tend to forget what is in the past. But the pandemic's fresh scars, Russia's unprovoked aggression against Ukraine, shaking our continent, economic headwinds battering households and business alike, and Albania, well, despite being in line for EU membership since what feels like the Stone Age, and at that age I had all my hairs black. We hadn't cracked open a single negotiating chapter, and maybe we catch up about it more on later. And yet, amid this volatility, you brought calm, clarity, and conviction. You even converted, as I said before, a skeptic like me into a social dialogue believer. And isn't that a proof that miracles do happen? And they are often accompanied by a well-timed agenda item. You reminded us that in tough times, social dialogue isn't a luxury, it's an absolute necessity, like oxygen for a continent holding its breath. You amplify the committee's voice as the voice of organized civil society, ensuring recovery, green transition, and digital policies were rooted in inclusiveness, fairness, and sustainability, not just spreadsheets and solemn notes. You also championed enlargement with a flair I particularly admire, dubbing us enlargement candidate members, a sympathetic rebrand that finally lets civil society from EU hopefuls crush the advisory party. No more picking through the keyhole. We are in the room contributing and occasionally suggesting that the coffee in Brussels can be better. By looking outward to our region, neighborhood, and inspiring joiners, you ensured our voices echoed in here, not as faint whispers, but as full-throated partners in the chorus. You hammered home and reminded stubborn stakeholders that the EU isn't just a single market, it's a community of people where economic growth must tango with social justice. Integration, measure it in human dignity, jobs, fair wages, equal opportunities, and shields for the vulnerable, because nothing says stronger, safer Europe like not leaving anyone behind. You argued fiercely that the Western Balkans' future is inside the Union, pulling our civil society into the debate like a generous host insisting on seconds at dinner. This isn't at all, from my side, mere political cheerleading. This is moral rocket fuel, and we are profoundly grateful. It's especially vital for Albania and our turbocharged accession sprint. As you might have heard, just yesterday we flung open 4 more negotiating chapters atop the 24 already unlocked, eyeing a clean sweep by year's end. Our new joint consultative committee launched earlier this year will supercharge social dialogue and craft policies that actually mirror what ordinary citizens want. Because, let's face it, no one votes for more bureaucracy bingo. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is about institutions. Yes, it is about collectivities. But yes, it's about leaders. And of course, it's about the joint work of many people, but at the end, it comes to someone that is able to bring people together and to make something consistent and helpful for many through it. So under Oliver's helm, the EECC has been a consensus building machine with a side of trust serum. From empowering youth in decisions, and we just saw a little example, to bolstering SMEs, the unsung heroes of Europe's economy, to humanizing the Green Deal, because saving the planet shouldn't mean freezing in the dark. Oliver has proven Europe shines brightest when policies are co-authored by its citizens, not dictated from on high. The end of a mandate isn't the end of a mission, and I can guarantee you, because I have had many mandates, it's just the sequel set up. So your presidency leaves a legacy of vision, courage, and dare I say humanity, with a humorous twist. You have framed Europe not as some lofty abstraction, but as a daily grin and glory for workers, employers, youth, and families. Institutions can listen and dialogue can win. And unity is achievable even when division feels like the default setting. So believe me, I can very rarely do what I did here, but it all comes from my heart, and it all comes from the gratitude of all my team, because this place, the EESC, was the first place where we Albanians, second-hand citizens of Europe, felt equal citizens of Europe. And on behalf of Albania's government, and speaking also strictly for myself, I thank you, Oliver, for your leadership. I thank you for your enlargement advocacy, and I thank you for your rock-solid faith in a Europe that's strong because it's just, and whole because it's united. And if it's not, well, at least we have got great stories for the retirement time dinners ahead. As we charge towards the future, the principles of your leadership will ignite new leaders inside this space, but also inside EU and beyond the EU. For Albania, on our accession trail, we taught the conviction you have fortified. Europe thrives only when whole, and wholes only when united. Thank you very much for everything you have done and for everything you have given to us as a human being, and thank you to all the humans in this room for their heroic patience.
I thank the Prime Minister very much for what I think he will agree was a very eloquent, very warm speech with a very welcome touch of lightness in these very sobering times. So thank you. I think, blimey, Oliver, I think your ears must be burning. I sort of feel like saying to everybody else, top that for a tribute. What did I hear there? A silent European superhero. and a guardian of social dialogue, and so much more. So we will invite you back momentarily, not quite yet for a photo opportunity, but we are having a set change because we are going to hear now directly, and it's going to be beautifully elevator pitch style, from those who have worked together under this initiative. So we've got the EESC rapporteurs, we've got enlargement candidate members,